welcome to Eye to Eye with me, Galvin Berkeley. Well, on today's show, we have a lot to talk about, including the board president, Eric West, resigning. Surprising news, huh? And also we're reflecting on 9/11/2001. So we'll have those stories and more on Eye to Eye. Now, starting off the show, as I've mentioned, we've covered in our first show the superintendent resigning and having a job in Detroit, Michigan, for the chancellor of schools or superintendent of schools in that area. Now, Eric West resigned, which is the board president of the Kansas City, Missouri School Board. That has, I don't know why he resigned, but here's the big catcher there. He wants his job back, and that's something that I don't know what the board wants to deal with, or is that a board and West thing, or whatever is going on there. But I do believe, and this is what I really think, if he was dumb enough to resign, then he's dumb enough to get his job back in the school board. However, if he's committed to his job and he wants to do what is right for the kids, then work out some kind of compromise and details in that area. Now on to our next story. We've talked to many individuals about relationships, and relationships that have been weird, and relationships that bring separation into play. And I'm talking about love relationships, not work relationships. That's a different show, and the Galvin's going to be about that, and I'm going to about that, about love relationships. I've talked to a love counselor, and most relationships can be worked out. It depends on what the issues are, and if you're willing to work those out, and what kind of person are you. But I have my own set of advice and my own set of ways. So here it is. Men, we have lost touch of what we need to do for a woman. We really have lost our touch of what we need to do for a woman. And as well, we have lost some respect. Now, that goes a long way down. In the same term, ladies, there still are some good men out there. You need to learn how to hold on and how to cherish them and how to treat them right. And vice versa, men. You need to hold on to that lady and you need to treat her right. Because both of you that are good, there's good people out there waiting to take you up. And that's something that people need to realize, is that it's not a competition, but people need to understand there's compromise, and there's also issues that you can't compromise on. And I understand those factors. But take time to know each other before y'all get ready to move in, or before y'all make that big commitment of marriage. And that's something simple. And I'm sorry for this background noise. Right off the street here. And it's just bad that we have to do that. But however, we're going to move on to the show. Relationships are hard, but relationships can be loving, trusting, inviting. If you learn how to find the right person from both genders, if you learn how to trust in one another, and if you learn how to give and take from one another. And I know that is hard to do, but there are some people that aren't doing the right things, and and it's time to go, folks. It's time to go. I'm sorry. Now, I was once a believer to stick it in and try to do what's right, but if the situation calls for ties and you can't get it together, in your relationship, it's time to go. There's no more holding on. There's no more pieces here, put the pieces of the puzzle here to figure that out. I'm done. So that's how I feel about that. Many of you, we've asked this question, what would you like from your husband? And some of you have asked to be more considerate, to do more chores around the house, be more loving, be more respectful. Men, you have a lot to live up to. And if you have a good woman that is asking you to do those things, why not do them? And women, you're not off the hook neither. We asked a survey to men on Facebook as well. And some of the men have stated that they wish that their woman, wife, and their woman would be more kind, be more respectful, and demand more of them, which is surprising. But hey, it's time to demand more from your man, and it's also time to demand more from your woman. And as well, you have to demand more from one another. And we're going to be right back in just a few, and I'm going to talk about more topics. This show is brought to you by T-Mobile. Stick together. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's one of those times that people don't know how to get together, to be respectful. And what I keep seeing is people not treating other people with respect. They haven't done nothing to you, but you got the nerve to disrespect somebody. You have the nerve to sit up here and act crazy over somebody. And what kills me the most is that you don't have to live with one another. You don't have to give up something for that. Or just when people ask for help, or when people are trying to be nice to you, be nice back. Be nice back, because you never know when that niceness can go a long way. And I'm looking down at our time clock, so I better hurry up and rush this along, because I have to get to the next segment. And people have to understand that not only kindness will take you a long way, and there's also been a survey by the way that mean people get more money. And, you know, I'm kind of digging into that because they demand more. But as well, I think nice people can demand more and get a little bit more of this, if you know what I mean. But we have to learn how to treat each other with respect. This is why this world is going all the way upside down. And as well, Obama. Here's the thing. People want to blame Obama for every little thing. How about we take a look at all the past presidents and see what kind of decisions they have made? Or let's see what the people that you put into office, such as senators, House of Representatives, and so forth. Let's see how those people play a big factor of big decisions coming from Washington. How about we blame those people before we blame the president? And I've had enough with the disrespect of the president, frankly. Some of you may not like him because of his policy making. Some of you may not like him because he doesn't have enough balls to stand up and say, I'm not taking this. Some of you may not like how he's doing things, and some of you may not like him because guess what? I'm going to say it here on the show. He's just black. Hell, I'm through having to hide this fact. Some of us don't want to tell the truth. And, oh, I'm not racist, but you are. And I'm sick of it. He's our black president, and guess what? Get over it. I had to get over Bush. I had to get over Clinton. Long story short, I had to get over. Well, I wasn't around for his daddy, Bush's daddy. So I can't say nothing about Bush's daddy and so forth. So I don't really give a damn. Anyway, I think honestly we need to learn how to keep our opinions to ourselves sometimes. And I know I just put it out there, but we have to learn how to control some of that anger and not talk about the president and all that. Well, Obama care and that. Let me tell you, for those that don't know, for those that don't have health care, what are you going to tell those for those that cannot afford health care? What are you going to tell those that cannot afford health care and have children? What are you going to tell those that can't afford to put bread, butter on the table? What are you going to tell those that are trying to do something with their life but just cannot afford to put money into themselves but need help from the government to keep themselves healthy, to keep themselves viable, to continue work, to continue to live life and longevity? And honestly, I'm not a big fan of the Tea Partiers, because they don't offer any kind of solution to get us out of the deficit, or they don't have any long-term goals to help government programs stay alive. Now, if we want to cut spending and you want to make government small, their plans to make government small, by the way, is to cut health care. And that means less for senior citizens, and that's less for people that need it. The people that don't need it, they need to get off the couch and move their legs a little bit. But for the people that can't do it anymore and can no longer work, why is that money not going to them and only them only? I'm just a little bit curious of why people have been getting Social Security and they're able to work and they're able to do things physically. But that's just me. All right, going on into September 11th. Reflecting on September 11th, everybody has asked this question: where were you 9/11/2001? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit, just briefly, where I was. I was on my way, walking out the door to catch the school bus, because I was in elementary school at that time. And, I must say, come here, little. And I just saw the plane go right into the Twin Towers. That I can never forget. And as much as Americans cannot forget that is something to always remember, because that was tragedy, that was sadness, and that was what we had to endure, and we still have to endure pain through this time. But as well, we have to move on as a country. We have to move on with the past being the past and the future being, well, our future, obviously. And we have to stand strong and have to help the people that have lost loved ones to be strong, to move on with the best intent. Now, I can't tell you, move on right now. Look, you need to move on. That's something I can't do, because it takes time to move on from any situation, including terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers, and also on the Pentagon, for those who don't know. It's been something more strong for every American to remember this event. And as well, I've also took it to my heart that there are people that are still struggling to get through this time of bereavement. And I've also took it to my heart that there are some people that are missing their loved ones. And I've also took a look at the piece on ABC News of the children that were born on 9/11 and never will get to see their fathers. Now that's something so sad. One little one had said they sleep with one of their dad's belongings because it reminds them of their father, even though they didn't get to see their father. But however, they get to go back into dad's arms, and that's something sweet and some joyous. And I'd like to tell Americans to put aside your hatefulness. Put aside for at least one day to remember the people that have sacrificed themselves to fight a war, to fight plenty of wars in this country. Set aside your hatred for those that are still struggling to bring this country together. Put aside your differences for people that really are having a tough time. And with that said, I thank you for watching Eye to Eye with me. Don't forget to go on my website, MrGalvin.web.com. You can click on links and it has the latest information. And also on the home page, you can take a look on what's on next week on the next Eye to Eye show. Until next time, don't forget to have the Eye to Eye conversation. Have a good day, everyone.